anytime, any day. Why not right now? Stop looking up to your boss and start being your own boss. Don't work for paychecks. Work for dreams with no regrets. This is Cracking the Entrepreneur Code. If you have the passion, we'll create the blueprint. Now, your host. You know him from his 7 tips to build the business you always wanted, and now you're about to hear a lot more. Jack H.M. Wong.
Welcome to another episode of Cracking the Entrepreneur Code podcast show. I'm your host, Jack Wong. And this episode, we are going to bring on another successful entrepreneur, and his name is Vernon Brown. So just give you a heads up of who Vernon is. He is actually a happiness and success coach who has helped more than, 10,000 people, and I'll repeat, 10,000 people turning happiness into a tangible commodity that is not negotiable. And his philosophy is very simple. There's no magic way. There's no magic key. Most people evade happiness subconsciously as they are caught up in minutes of life. So I believe that this episode will be in a happy mood and we'll have fun, will be exciting because this is Vernon's expertise. Vernon, thank you for joining my show. How are you today?
Jack, thank you for having me. Let me talk with your viewers. I'm fantastic. Thank you.
Fantastic. I love that. See, the mood is already there. Okay, that's very good. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, how do you become a happiness and success coach? What was your background leading to what you are doing right now?
So, that's a fantastic question. It's the number one question I get asked. So how does one become a happiness coach? For myself, it dates back to when I was first born, so about 20. I was not getting a lot of what I really wanted out of life. Happiness, a lot of, just attention. I was an odd duck. I was just I was shorter. I was than my peers. I was more overweight than my peers, and it just made it tough to fit in with everyone. I was kind of the odd man out. And, on top of that, I'm one of 3. I'm the middle child, and we just didn't have a lot of money. So what that did for me, it put me in this place where happiness was not real. And when I say happiness, I don't mean that, perception of rainbows and butterflies. I just mean in the realm of having the energy to succeed and to see outside of my struggles. And so what I did there was, it's funny to talk about this because, I'm so far removed from it. When I turned 20, things just clicked. I recognized that I had way more control than what I did when I was younger. I went after the things I told that I could not have. Happiness. I shot up from 5'10" to 6'4". I just kind of grew into myself. I found my legs in life, so to speak. And so when I went to school, I initially started with animation, and from there I segued into psychology. And then when I got done with school, I wanted to still get more traction in this world. So I started doing a little bit of traveling with another career, and I experienced more things than what I ever thought I would imagine. From meeting with icons, I met with Madonna, and just to sit face to face, no more than 6 inches from her, and to see her genius, being with actors and actresses like Don Cheadle, and I just I had so many great experiences, which is such a contrast from how I started in life. When I got done, I got full with that part of my life. I came back to Richmond, Virginia, and said, "Hey, what can I do here? What do I really have?" And I got with a coach, which I'm a big fan, and I know you are too, Jack, of having your own coach.
Yep.
And my coach said, "You really should consider doing this." And yeah, you're very welcome. I thought he was crazy at the time, but that's the benefit of having a coach. They see things in you that you don't see in yourself sometimes. Well, most of the time. And I did a little research into it, and from there, I literally chose the profession of happiness coaching because that's what it was about. It's about going out there and getting more options, opportunities, possibilities, and solutions. And that was some years ago, and here I am talking to you, Jack.
Yep, that's very amazing because no one in my podcast shows, no guest ever told me that the life is smooth. It's like all of us started with something like the common thing that happened is always the childhood, whereby some people didn't have a good childhood, some people didn't enjoy themselves, and most of us actually mentioned that we didn't learn a lot in school. I mean, the education system did not actually help us grow in the way that we want to be. So it all went back to the root of the problem in the past, and it's very hard for one to understand that. While when you talk about happiness, while it's simple to say, are we living in the life that we truly enjoy ourselves, and are we happy actually? So that's the reason why I believe that you guys exist, for that reason, to show the real world that, well, you know what, there's the other part of the world called happiness. I mean, there's my little philosophy out there. So if I were to ask you, Vernon, this is a very good question in my opinion for people to start understand what you do. Like, if I were to ask you, Vernon, define happiness, how would you define this term?
I love this question because it's one that I feel often gets misunderstood. So going back to what I was saying earlier, it's not only to be smiling and to be laughing, but it's about understanding the way energy works. And I'm not trying to get weird here, but to see more options, opportunities, possibilities, and solutions, it opens you up to seeing things from such a different perspective. When I'm working with a client and they initially seem stuck, they might not have a quite understanding of what's going on, but after 1 to 2 to 3 sessions, what happens is they become more energized. It's what that happiness does, what that energy does, is it takes you, and going back to what I was saying earlier, that it's not about just smiling and laughing. It's about understanding that it's energy. It's so energizing to have more options, opportunities, possibilities, and solutions. It's called oops thinking. And what that does is it bridges the gap between whatever the circumstances you might the circumstance you're going through, or the understanding that you have and generate from it. And it takes you from having that singular focus to, hey, I can't do anything, or hey, I only can do this or that, to I have so many more options. And it's such an energizing thing.
That's right. So you mentioned that happiness is basically about energy. It's how you can energize yourself so that you can see things that you may not see in the past. Gives you more options. Then you become aware of choices. I mean, this is what I gather from what you've just said. So then the question I have is that, what is this energy about, and why is it so important for one to raise this energy?
Well, it's important because when you're going out into the entrepreneurial world, you want to be open. And without having your energy higher, it really will close you off to new opportunities. It will close you off from different new social connections. It will close you off from such powerful brainstorming that you can implement more and more ideas, more just experiences that can take business from, hey, what's going on, to, hey, wow, I love what's going on. It helps you when your energy's higher. Why it's so important is it really helps you to do more. So you're not going to be quite as tired, where you can really engage and be just this ball of energy. When you wake up out in the morning and you don't have any problems, all you find is solutions regardless.
So in other words, what you are saying is that the reason why your clients didn't get what they want, or in their life, in their business, is all because of energy. Am I right to say? So what are some of the challenges they have if they do not have the energy? Have you come across with some challenges these entrepreneurs have just because they did not have the energy required?
Yeah, and this is a really great question. I say that because a lot of times, my clients, they might be sleeping a lot. They might not. They might be sleeping a little. Okay. They might almost seem as though they're in a fog with some things. They don't feel quite as vibrant as they used to. And this can come from, I want to make sure everyone understands, this isn't this condition where there's no no coming back from it. And a lot of it can stem from, your communication can start becoming poor. You might become very disorganized with things. And that's a really big one. And just overall kind of a lower energy state. And a big one that happens, when I find my clients, is they just feel confused. They feel lost.
Wow. That is a big one. They do not know what they want. They are lost. They are confused. It is a very big challenge just because of low energy. I didn't know that having low energy can create such a disastrous result. Wow. Thank you for enlightening this.
Yes, it can.
In such case, now that I'm aware of the importance of maintaining and raising my energy, like what are the common steps that I can do so that I can raise my energy, so that I become aware of choices, less confused if not totally clear? What are the steps involved for me to raise the energy?
Well, the first one is to practice being happy, or practice being a person who doesn't have these problems. You know, it's a funny thing when I'm with my clients, they look at me like I have three heads, and I always reply to them, and I have replied to them, well, you've practiced being frustrated, you've practiced being upset with your boss or your spouse, you've practiced, you know, being upset with the guy in the car next to you. What's the benefit of what's the harm in practicing, you know, not having these problems here? And they always look at me and we always stop laughing. So it's the practice.
Okay.
I mean, I know it sounds funny, but we don't think about it.
Yeah,
you know, you'll get up and say, I can't wait to see this guy because I'm going to tell him or her off. And it's like, well, how about we practice, you know, getting the biggest check that you've had in your life.
Right. It sounds insane. It sounds simple. And
so much organization.
Yeah.
Just in that moment is to start implementing it because it's so simple. The next thing is we get so inundated with work and these projects and our success that we forget to write down the things that, you know, brought us to that place to begin with, that have made us, you know, these creative resources. When I went with a person or I meet with a client, and this happened to me last night, a coach reached out to me and was trying to figure out what was going on and why, you know, she wasn't performing the way she used to perform. I've asked her, you know, when was the last time you had fun? And she got so quiet on the phone, Jack, and she was like, what do you mean? And I asked her, when was the last time you had fun? And then she got even more quieter, and I didn't say anything. I just let her kind of search through it, and it was about 3 or 4 minutes, and she said, you know, oh my gosh. And, you know, she had forgotten to do the things that she had enjoyed about life. She just had practiced so much with having problems and thinking about what's wrong. She never thought about what she liked to do.
Wow.
And that one right there, that's the immediate go-to whenever I see someone telling me or reaching out to me about, you know, where they are and how they feel stuck or how they're not getting what they want out of their lives. Very rarely, and I mean very rarely, do people say they are doing things that are fun to them.
Right. And I guess that what you are telling me is that these people can just have a very simple shift of the mind and be aware that they actually have happiness in the past, and they can transcend to a very different level as they want to be. It's that fast once the awareness level is there. But how would I still cannot understand? It's like, it sounds like on hindsight, I can say it's so easy. And I just can't believe that these entrepreneurs, like, they are so busy with what they do and they forgot to have fun. They forgot that they can find the joy and happiness out of what they are doing. To me, it's like, what causes all this? I still cannot understand fully. It's like, when I start a business, first of all, I have to ask myself, okay, is this something I enjoy? And at the beginning, I would say, yeah, why not? Of course, this is something that I would enjoy so that I can keep on doing it. So along the way, what are the things that happened that get me stuck so that I forgot right from the start that I should have enjoyed the process? So what happened? I still can't get it.
So I'm happy you asked this because this is a part 2 to finding how to get the energy up. So whenever I meet with, last week I met with an IT consultant, really sharp guy. And it wasn't that with him and with most people, it's not only that we forget to do things that make us happy. We've got to understand there are some pre-qualifiers to that question. It cannot involve alcohol or food. It cannot involve buying or spending. And this is the real kicker that gets, and this is what gets people, it can only involve yourself. You know, what happens when I meet with people is they're entertained, they'll be talking with clients, they'll be out with their kids, and they'll be out, and these are great things, don't get me wrong. Oftentimes is when we aren't finding the things that make us uniquely happy, you specifically happy without involving others. That's where that's where the real game kicks in. We all know that we have different dress sizes, different pant sizes, different eye colors, but what's your happy? What makes you, Jack, and listeners as a whole, makes you happy is something that we forget about.
That's
You know,
right.
even for myself, when I was younger, I mentioned that I had some troubles. You know, what really pulled me through, and this is how I found art, was art made me happy. And that's how I was able to overcome a lot of my struggles. It created a private space for me. I knew the ecosystem where it was just about me. And it doesn't take a large amount of time. It's literally something you can take 15 to 20 minutes a day.
Yeah.
And we're talking about between that and, you know, really you practicing different things and having mindful conversations, bam, you're done. Because I move very quickly. My clients aren't there more than 12 sessions.
Whoa, 12 sessions.
Uh-huh.
Well, to me, it's like, I'm only speaking for myself right now, like based on what you have said, like what makes me happy is that, well, the very generic statement is, of course, well, you know what, my mission is to improve the quality of lives of other people through my knowledge, through my experience. Like when I see people create results for themselves, I'm very happy. Like this to me is a very generic statement. But what is more profound after listening to you is that, like, what actually drives me to do what I do, and why am I so passionate about that, and how can I actually keep up with my energy is that I always have this inquisitive mind. Like that for myself, I'm a very solid, profound guy who loves to ask questions to myself. And you know what? My whole life is all about like looking for new information, looking for new aha, looking for another way of doing the same thing with less time. And to me, that is something that I love doing it. So if you give me a step, okay, like 3-step process to reach to point B, my mindset that I would be extremely happy if I figure out instead of 3 steps, 2 steps I can reach point B. That is like, wow, amazing. So that is how I keep myself happy. So to me, it's like, as long as I know I have the resources to help me stay focused and keep on maintaining my mood level so that I can continue taking action, then to entrepreneurs one day, we all know that by taking action, we can only have 2 things happen in life. You either achieve what you want in life, or 2, you learn something so that next time you're able to achieve it. So we call it, you win or you learn. That is what my philosophy of entrepreneurship is. So now if I were to go back to a person who just started a business, and with so much uncertainty, so much confusion, and sometimes these people might be so overwhelmed. So how would you come in if they were to ask you for help? What would you do with these new entrepreneurs so that they can stay focused with the game?
So and I love what you just said there, and there's a big gem. There's one of the many gems in what you just said was, to answer your question, a new entrepreneur comes in. It's the questions that they are asking themselves. It's what's getting them getting the circumstance that has gotten the circumstance to where it is. When you're asking yourself a question, the quality of the question, the perspective of the question, if you ask that question in a way that always will equal to you not doing well or you not doing better, or you're not doing well and you not succeeding, that's what you're going to get. So the biggest thing is to go back into resources. When we become, again, inundated with these problems, hey, I'm not finding enough clients, I'm not getting enough customers, what that does is it starts taken away from your biggest resource, and that's your creativity. And I'm sure you can appreciate this, Jack. And I'm also sure you've had moments like this when the odds were against you, and you had nothing. You might not have had the money, you might not have had the time, but when you sat back and got really creative, you made it happen. And that's where a lot of entrepreneurs lose their footing. It's about seeing, hey, what are the real options here? And when, a person comes, and a lot of time, in some circumstances, I don't know the answers. My job as a coach is not to tell you what to do. It's to guide you through these circumstances and say, hey, what are we really looking at here? When a client comes through and says, hey, well, I'm not doing well, I'm late on my mortgage, I'm short on my payments for my car, what people do is sometimes they can become their problem and not see the solution. So that questioning can pull them away from whatever's bothering them so they can actually see what's going there, because it taps into a whole nother resource of creativity.
It's creativity. So my coach told me there are 2 worlds that one can choose to live in. One is at cost, the other one is at effect. What is at effect? Let's start with at effect. At effect is like when something happens in your life. Let's say I go to a restaurant for lunch, and somehow the restaurant during lunch hour is full, is packed. You have to queue for your turn to go into the restaurant. So if somebody operating at effect level, what it means is that it's not the right time, it's bad luck for me to be waiting for the restaurant to give me a seat at that time. Why am I like that? And why do I end up waiting for the seat? Why is it always happening on me? Is that the pattern of my life? So the person becomes the victim straight away. So that's at effect. Whereas if a person is resourceful at cause, what it means is that, okay, so now I've got the situation that I've got to wait at this restaurant. If I choose to wait, I will just live with the consequence. However, if I know that the time is very tight for me, I can choose, and the key word is that I can choose, go somewhere else to fill my stomach, and perhaps next time I can come back to this restaurant. So a person becomes so resourceful when they are at cause. And I always be reminded by my coach that whenever I'm thinking of a problem, am I at cause or at effect? So if you are at cause, you are resourceful. Like entrepreneurs, like I remember what my coach has told me. An entrepreneur's success is not depending on how much money he or she has made, but rather how resourceful he or she is. So that is the beauty. It's not about money. It's about how resourceful you. Like you said, if I do not have the money to invest in this product right now, does it mean that I can't invest? What if I'm able to come up with creative ways to raise money so that I can still invest the product, and I know truly that the product will help my company, will help my business, and I really, really need that. So when I get to that situation, if I'm resourceful, if I'm creative, I'll find my ways to deal with that instead of saying, too bad, I have no money, so maybe I'll let this opportunity pass by. Hopefully next time I have the opportunity again. And you know what happens is like typically such opportunity will not come back again. That is how I the situation will be. So you mentioned a very important point. I love the way you said, well, we all have a blind spot and we don't see what we see. So we don't see what we don't see. So having a coach there is actually giving you the awareness, and you know actually the answer. And you also mentioned another point whereby the quality of the questions that you ask will determine the result. So you've got to ask quality questions. And typically when people ask, like, how do I learn? Like the question is, how do I learn how to ask quality question? We got to practice regularly. But how do you know it's a quality question? So you can bounce up with the coach, and the coach can give you the awareness. Well, can you ask the question in another way? So that you know, okay, I know that I got another way of asking the question, and that may help me get the better answer. So that's the reason why a coach is there for. The coach is not like, you put it very nicely. A lot of people actually thought that the coach will give you the answer. I don't believe that, because coaches are not giving you the answer, but giving you the awareness so that you know how to get your answers. Because we always believe that you have the answer. It's just that you might the answers might be buried somehow, and you need time to dig up. So that's what the coaches are there for. Help you dig out the answer, help you get clarity.
And just to add on to that, you brought up a really great point that I want to make sure the listeners catch.
Sure.
A lot of times, most of the time, what got you to a certain level of success is what will get in your way from getting to the next level of success. If you have this hustle, you have this grind, and you're used to working hard, and it has gotten you to a level of success, to get you to the next level, it's not that you don't need to work hard. It's just an indicator more often than not that maybe we need to start working smarter than harder.
That's right. That's a very good point.
And even with my coach, I was so used to working hard, and I still have a coach. He calls it out every single time. Are you working as smart as you could be right now? And when he says that, all I can do is start laughing, just like you did. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I catch myself doing it. But yeah, I just want to make sure I threw that out there to some listeners, because that could be very helpful to them.
Yeah, of course, like our coaches are not kind people. I mean, my coaches are all passionate, and they have this thing, I call it ruthless compassion. It means that they they have the tough love. They like to love me in a very tough way. The questions they ask is something that I'm totally uncomfortable. And it's like, you please stop asking me all these questions. I have already a lot of things going to my mind. It's like, I heard you, but that helps us grow, because when we feel totally uncomfortable, that shows that we have grown. So if we are still doing what we are doing, getting ourselves so comfortable, and we will not be able to take our business to the next level, because we are not doing things that make us uncomfortable. So we can't grow. If we cannot grow, then how can we expect different results? How can we take our business to the next level? So yes, I'm always ready for this. I mean, although on one hand I say I don't like it, on the other hand I have to say that I'm ready to be uncomfortable. But that is the truth of the matter anyway. So I would like to just ask the last two questions. So the second last question is a ritual of my interview. I always ask my guests to give me a number one quote of his or her favorite. And Vernon gave me this one, and he said, "You don't get what you want out of life. You get what you are." And I know that this quote is from Les Brown. So my question is, how does this quote apply to you? Why this quote is your number one?
That quote I love. Because it puts you in the driver's seat. It puts you back in control of life. And it goes back to what you were saying about cause and effect. Is life happening to you or is it happening for you? To quote Anthony Robbins, it's when you are affecting life, it says, hey, I can do something with these circumstances. When your life is thinking that life is happening because this and because that, it puts you in a less than state. Even for myself, when I go out there and I give these speeches and I'm talking to a few thousand people, I am becoming what I want out of life. It gives me what I am. It gives me more resources because I'm resourceful. It gives me more, opportunities because I'm creating, seeking, lusting for these opportunities. And it stopped me. It will stop your mind. It will stop your actions from becoming this, almost a decrepit form of yourself. And I hate to sound negative here. But it's about like, hey, if my life isn't working for me, what can I do to make it happen? Versus this is happening to me. So it just always puts in such an energized state.
Yeah. So if I were to sum up before I ask you the final question, is like, of all the last half an hour, what's happening is that happiness is something within. You can actually raise, or is actually a result of how much energy you have. And obviously, you can raise your energy with simple processes. And then the more you raise your energy, the more success you can achieve. And the success is actually a result of whether you take the driver's seat, you have control, like the captain in the cockpit of an airplane. And if you give yourself this choice of being in control most of the time, if not all, it means that you can become resourceful, you can be creative, you can do a lot of things which you may not see, but because of your awareness, because you are now open to the creativity world, things happen your way. And you may not even know what happened. It's like the epiphany comes in one after one after one. Oh my God, wow. Oh my God, another one. Oh my God. It's like successes are coming like that. I mean, that is what I see. It's very amazing. It's like it just requires a shift of mind, and then everything just comes that way. It's amazing. Right. And I can so I can tell the listeners one thing. Do not believe the word we say really, because it is really our experience of our life this way. So what we urge you to do, listeners, is really go ahead, be vulnerable, be willing to surrender to the process of having a coach, and then let the coach guide you along through this experience so that whatever we say is not our experiences only, but yours. And then you can spread your experiences with other people. And then the world will have more and more successful entrepreneurs. And that is what I truly believe. Success breeds success. Sounds good?
And your brain is not designed to make you happy. It's designed to keep you alive.
Yep.
That's what it's there for.
Okay, I love
and that. Alive does not mean that you're thriving and that, you're high-fiving your wife and you're playing with the kids. That's not what your brain is going to be designed to do. It's the practice of telling your brain, this is what I'm expecting from you, and this is how we're going to do it. And
interesting.
Just to throw that out there.
Okay, so the last question is a routine question. Is how are we able to find out more about what you do? And is there any website or social media accounts that we can check you out?
Yeah, so you can go to my website. It's What's Your Happi, and it's happy with an I. You spell happy with an I. It's what'syourhappi.com. I have some of my speeches there, as far as when I'm going out on different dates. But for something that's more up to date on a regular basis, because I post it daily, is my Facebook page, and it's facebook.com/what's your happy. And again, it's happy with an I.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of positive quotes there. I post videos there where I ask questions live just to get people thinking. Another platform that I use is Instagram. That's another one I post to daily as well. And it's Instagram.com, and you just type in what's_your_happy. And again, it's happy with an I.
Sure.
And I'm also on LinkedIn as well.
So we can see you from a lot of places. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So once again, Vernon, thank you for being my guest on this episode, and that serves my purpose very well. So listeners, so that concludes the episode. This episode of Cracking the Entrepreneur Code. So again, until we next meet, I'm going to bring on another successful entrepreneur who will be sharing with you his wisdom, intelligence, and experience to help you take your business to the next level. So until next meet, take care, and I'm signing off now. Bye-bye.
To continue cracking the entrepreneur code, subscribe for more episodes and download the Amazon bestseller, Cracking the Entrepreneur Code, 7 Tips to Build the Business You Always Wanted at crackingentrepreneur.com. Learn more about author and host Jack H.M. Wong and book your 30-minute discovery session to overcome any professional challenge at jackhmwong.com/apply.